Hello, hello. Good morning. It is Tuesday, August 26th in the year of our Lord Donald Trump. A lot of non-breaking news happening in the world, Ted. So we're going to talk about water cooler stuff today. Especially back to school. It's back to school season. That's why Ted over there is not in his usual abode. He's at some restaurant chain.
A Burger King.
For breakfast.
It's the best. I was kind of tempted to get a burger, but you can't even get a burger at 10 o'clock in the morning at Burger King.
Well, no duh, Ted. That's not a breakfast item. It is breakfast time. Hello.
Yeah, but freedom ain't free, and freedom says that at BK you should be able to get a burger. It's in the name.
It is in the name, but they have like a breakfast sandwich.
Yeah,
I guess that's burger-ish. So Ted's on the road, obviously, because he had to take his kid back to school. And Ted is traveling back to New York. I'm Manila Chan. I'm in my regular home studio, as you can see, but my kid's been back to school. Totally different situation. And luckily, neither of our kids, luckily or not, I don't know, depending on people hearing the story, lucky or not, neither of our kids are doing OnlyFans.
Well, as far as we know.
That's true. That's true. The secret lives of children. That is true. That's going to be one of the topics today is the rise of OnlyFans among college-age kids, specifically girls. We'll get you the details, and it's kind of shocking about how much money some of these girls can make.
I'm jealous.
Well, maybe. We'll also talk about just one quick bit of news. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky panhandling for $1 billion a month. $1 billion. We'll tell you those details. And then we'll also talk about Southwest Airlines requiring larger passengers to buy 2 seats in order to fly, right? If your body mass goes over, if your body mass expands beyond the armrest, which is the DMZ, Ted, like if you're larger than that, you're required to buy 2 seats, and there's like
maybe 3 potentially.
I mean, maybe
if it goes that way,
it's possible. But anyway, you can't have just 1 seat. So we'll tell you what the changes are there and why some consumers are saying they're fat shaming. And then speaking of fat shaming,
they're fat gouging is what they're doing. I mean,
so speaking of gaining weight, Cracker Barrel also under fire, losing like around $150 million in stock value instantly. It was like almost like a 15% crash because of their new rebrand and new logo. Producer Robbie has a lot to say. Ted and I collectively have been there maybe 2 times or maybe 3.
Yeah.
So we don't know much.
I've been there once personally.
Yeah, I've been there once for sure. I think maybe 2. Maybe there was a second time I stopped. So 1 or 2 times. So Robbie's got to weigh in on that because it's a whole southern chain, and there is a lot of backlash about not only the logo rebrand, but the whole interior new designs and.
Oh, I didn't know about that part.
Oh yeah. They're trying to go for like the southern chic kind of look. It's no longer like the quaint. They're store by store. I mean, that's going to cost you a lot of money. And
wait,
I think
I'm going to get in trouble for this, but isn't southern chic an oxymoron?
Ted, no, I think it's like country. What do they call it? Like country
shabby chic. Country.
No, it's like the Chip and Joanna Gaines look, like industrial farmhouse. I think they're aiming for.
So is this like in Harold and Kumar, Escape from Guantanamo Bay, and they end up at some hillbilly's house, and they walk in, it's like, Yeah, I let you fuck my wife. And then they go inside the house, which is
God, I don't know.
Shotgun Shack, and then it's all like East Elm furniture.
I don't remember that. Now, I mean, Robbie's gonna have to tell us more about why so many people who love Cracker Barrel are so angry about this. Because take a look at some of the pictures of the new interior look.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was really cute. You know, like
Okay.
industrial farmhouse thing, but I guess
Yeah.
and Ted, we've talked about this on the show before, that Southerners are pissed off that they feel that their culture, the Southern culture, is being stripped away, and this is yet another.
Well, yeah, we'll have to
Yet
talk
another
about that
example.
because I have questions actually. About
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been there often enough. I don't know. So we'll talk about it. It's a social issue. So with that, let's head over. I was trigger happy there. Trigger happy there on the TMI show. We're live, of course, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern time. Make sure you guys hit the like and the subscribe
I don't
button.
hear you.
You don't hear me?
Yeah, is that you or me?
I don't know.
I'm gonna have to reboot.
Robbie, can you thumbs up?
My,
Can you hear me? Yep, Robbie can hear me. Can the Rumble Room hear me? Can you guys let me know? I don't know if that was a Ted thing. It might be a Ted thing. Let's see. Ted's back. Can you hear me now, Ted?
Suddenly you're not there.
Robbie says I'm there. Robbie can hear me.
Huh.
I don't know if the audience can hear me. Is it just Ted? You guys
Manila,
let me know.
Hear you.
Everyone else can hear me.
It's really annoying. Let me
Everyone
check
else can hear me. It's Burger King censoring me. Censoring Ted, actually.
Right here, nothing.
Yeah, we're gonna wait a second and see if Ted can fix his audio. The audience in the Rumble Room says they can hear both of us, but the problem is if Ted can't hear me, then we can't really have a conversation. Ted's got to check his audio. Did you turn on the tab? Turn on your audio tab, Ted. You're watching this in real time. Let's have Ted try to reboot again. Go for a phone.
Okay, fixed.
Can you hear me now, Ted?
Got it.
Okay. It was a Ted thing.
It was a Ted thing.
It was a Burger King.
Ted was going full tard.
All right. So with that, now is the Burger King, the BK. You know, remember that stream that I told you guys about a couple weeks ago that Benjamin Netanyahu went on some Gen Z, popular Gen Z podcast called like the I don't know, something with an N, Necky Boys, I don't know, something boys. And one of the hard-hitting questions they asked him, Ted, was if Bibi preferred McDonald's or Burger King.
Well, that's a good question. I think he likes. I think he prefers to eat Palestinian children. So whichever chain serves those.
Well, he actually answered BK, Ted. So you are inadvertently supporting Benjamin Netanyahu's favorite restaurant.
Really?
His favorite burger chain. Yeah. Did you know that?
All right.
Yeah, it was from Bibi's mouth. He said so on the podcast. He preferred Burger King. So how about that? All right. So now we'll get into the actual news. First things first. So Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is pressing allies for steady financial firepower, calling for $1 billion per month to purchase American-made weapons as Russia's invasion grinds into its now going on the fourth year. Standing beside the Norwegian Prime Minister Jonas Gahr Store in Kiev, Yesterday, Zelensky framed the request as essential to holding the line in Europe's most consequential conflict since World War II. Norway, a neighbor of Russia, has emerged as one of Ukraine's most reliable backers. Store pledged that Oslo's multi-billion-dollar aid, both military and civilian, would stretch into 2026. Just a day earlier, Norway announced nearly $700 million to new air defense funding, joining Germany in bankrolling two U.S.-made Patriot anti-missile systems and related radar equipment. Quote, Ukraine is defending a critical principle on the European level, Storr said, emphasizing that Moscow's attempted land grab threatens the entire continent. Other Western leaders have cycled through Kiev in a show of solidarity. Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney pledged $1.4 billion in aid on the 24th. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte visited Kiev on the 22nd. Germany's Vice Chancellor Lars Klingbeil arrived yesterday, explored potential roles in the peace process there. Not sure how much money they're willing to pitch in, Germany, that is. The U.S. political backdrop looms large. President Donald Trump, who has floated direct talks between Zelensky and the Russian president, Vladimir Putin, said last week he'll decide next steps within 2 weeks, because Donald Trump loves 2 weeks, if a summit doesn't materialize. Asked why Putin refuses to meet, Trump bluntly said, quote, because he doesn't like him.
Well, that's true. That's probably true.
Okay, sure. I mean, yeah, that was a blunt answer, not super diplomatic, but okay.
Not surprising.
Sure, okay. Meanwhile, Zelensky has met with U.S. envoy Keith Kellogg, to strategize on pressuring Moscow into what they call real talks. He welcomed Washington's role in shaping Ukraine's future security architecture, including joint work on drones and air defense. Mr. Kellogg pointed to Secretary of State Marco Rubio's efforts to assemble U.S.-led guarantees, ranging from diplomatic assurances to military monitoring that could anchor a future ceasefire. A ceasefire that Vladimir Putin has said outright is not going to happen. Peace deal or nothing. Like, peace deal or bust, and that's it. Russia, however, pushing back. Obviously, Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, probably the only grown-up in the room, insisted no security arrangement is credible without Moscow at the table, dismissing Western-only frameworks as a road to nowhere, obviously. For now, Ukraine's battlefield survival still hinges on cash, weapons, and whether or not allies will keep writing those billion-dollar checks. So, Ted, I mean, I know Robbie's got thoughts on this because, I mean, how long can everybody keep giving $1 billion? Like, that's just not tenable. Like, you can't, it's going into the fourth year. Every economy is broke, Germany especially, and the Europeans keep talking out of both sides of their mouth, saying, on the one hand, Vladimir Putin is failing on the battlefield. He can't even take over Donetsk, yet he's going to go steamroll into Poland and Germany next. So which is it? Either they're floundering and a bad military, or they are the next Nazi revolution that's just going to storm all three, from east to west, and go all the way into Mongolia and just take over everything.
Well, Manila, that has been their totally conflicted, paradigm for years. But now they're finally admitting that Russia's making advances and winning on the battlefield, and that's why they're accusing Putin of dragging his feet about a peace deal. Now, the thing is, I think what people understand here is that both Trump and Putin, I think, view Ukraine as a secondary, although an important secondary, but a secondary question that needs to be resolved. Both of them are more interested in normalizing relations. They want to get back to business. And Ukraine, this Ukraine thing is in the way. And basically, they've got the Europeans and the Ukrainians and domestic considerations as well, and the defense industry squabbling with them to try to keep the war going. Obviously, if Putin wasn't serious about trying to bring in Ukraine for a soft landing, he wouldn't have shown up in Anchorage. I mean, it's a beautiful city and everything, but I'm sure Putin could have found other places to visit, even with that ICJ, warrant hanging over his head. So he's serious, but I think obviously the Russian feeling is we hold most of the cards, we are winning, and therefore we shouldn't really have to give many, if any, concessions at all. That's where they're at. So
Obviously.
but you've got the French and the Brits and the Germans, howling, trying to scuttle this peace deal. They want the war to continue. That's the story there.
I think that Ted's about half right. I think that what it is that Putin is not going to settle for a gentleman's agreement with another American president, because the last time the Russians did that with the promise not to expand NATO to the east, look where that got them. So I think what they're going to do is that they are going to insist on an actual treaty ratified by the U.S. Congress, so that way the next president can't just say, "Oh, psych, sorry, we lied to you yet again." I think that's where we are. And the Russians, they understand that Ukraine is a theater, but they're actually at war with the United States, and that they are going to insist on an actual peace agreement solidified under law, and that's just where they're going to be. And the Europeans need to realize that they may still have delusions of grandeur. They might think that they're still big and important players. Really, though, they're not. They are occupied little bitches. And the sooner they realize that, the better off they're going to be, and that they don't have a say, nor do they have a vote.
Yeah, the whole Nord Stream pipeline thing, the whole collusion there, I think proved to kind of backfire for their economies. They thought they were going to get a cheaper deal out of President Biden or the next president on energy costs, and that didn't really happen.
Look at Germany. The United States blows up their pipeline, but the fact the United States has 200,000 troops in Germany, like right now, kind of lets you know that the Germans aren't sovereign. They can pretend like that they are. And you have this whole politicians. Oh, well, we can shoot Taurus missiles into Russia. They're not going to do anything. And just like you have Russian tanks outside your Reichstag. Do you really want to have round 3? It's probably not a well thought out proposition.
And Ted, by the way, I keep putting you on mute because the background noise is very loud. So when you're ready to talk,
there's like barking dogs and
when you're ready to talk, just give me a hand signal. Don't flip me the bird, but give me a hand signal and I'll unmute you, so that way it's a clearer, crisper audio.
You wouldn't think that rural areas of the country would be so loud at BK at 10 in the morning.
Who knew?
You're wrong.
Oh, on the back end chat, y'all should have a question with a donation from Rumble, if y'all will address that real quick.
Oh, I see it.
By the way,
I'd
like to remind all the YouTubers and the Rumblers that today is my birthday.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Ted!
Gifts to the TMI show thank you guys, are very accepted, always 365 days a year. But leap day you can take off. But if you feel like you want to throw some money my way, and it'll also benefit Manila and Robbie, kick it in.
That's right. I have it on my calendar too, that it's your birthday, and I didn't say it at the top of the show because
everyone always, if you're born at this time of the year, no one remembers your birthday ever.
Why?
My son's birthday was yesterday.
Because it's the end of the summer. Because it's like everybody's like in transition mode, like this, trying to get some last minute vacay and pool time in, or planning for the school year. So
look, my birthday is Pearl Harbor Day. First of all, before 9/11.
Always good for Asians.
Before 9/11, that was like the worst thing growing up for the one Asian kid in school.
That's awesome.
So that sucked. But
then will live in infamy. Manila's birthday.
It's true. And then I'm like wedged right after Thanksgiving. And then people go hit the Christmas rush. So no one's paying attention to Pearl Harbor Day / Manila's birthday.
That's true.
So even as a kid, very quickly, I think by my 7th birthday, I stopped getting a birthday present and then a Christmas present. It became like one combo present, like before my double-digit birthday. So people were just like, "Oh yeah, here's a Christmas present and a birthday card attached."
Awesome.
No. Yeah, that sucks. But when is it ever a good time for a birthday, Ted?
Well, there's definitely good times for birthdays. I mean, I think like dead of winter, like like March, April. There's nothing else going on. Everybody, people are looking for an excuse to celebrate. That's a good time of the year.
Really? Okay, we got a question from Sir Bikes a Lot. Question: Why does the communist Amtrak train have bigger seats and way more legroom? I take Amtrak because I can take my bicycle with me and for the legroom. I can't help that it's late. Hashtag sarcasm.
Bigger leg room than what?
A plane.
I don't know. Oh, the
Because
plane.
trains and planes aren't the same thing.
Well, I mean, we're going to be talking about Southwest, so maybe that's relevant to that. So maybe we can hold that answer until we get that. So Ted, this is Ted's story. Ted travels a lot. So I got to admit, Ted, I've only been on Southwest one time. So I think are they the air carrier that doesn't do like assigned seating or whatever? Is that them?
That was what made them famous. They're migrating away from that though. It's been a while. They've moved into seating zones, and so and then you get if you pay an extra fee, you can get priority seating. So basically, they've gotten away from the whole cattle call thing, but it's still, that's the origin of it. They're doing a lot of big changes because it was a wildly profitable airline, but they're having trouble now, so they're trying to gouge now.
Oh, okay. So this is Ted's read because he is the frequent flyer of the show.
Yep, and if I keep eating the way I've been eating, maybe it'll affect me directly. Anyway, here we go. Southwest Airlines is scrapping one of its few standout customer-friendly policies. Starting January 27th of next year, plus-size travelers, in other words, those who don't fit between a seat's armrests, in other words, anyone over 100 pounds, must buy a second adjacent seat in advance. Gone is the old flexibility. No more airport requests or assured refunds. Now, reimbursement only comes if the flight isn't full, which basically never happens anymore. Both seats are bought in the same fare class, and you file the refund within 90 days of travel. If you skip the step and you show up on a packed flight, Southwest will dump you from your fat ass from the flight to a later flight, and you'll pay whatever the walk-up fare is, which will be a fortune. This is a major shift from their old policy. Previously, if you were a little bigger, you could ask for an extra seat and pay for it and get a refund later for it, or simply ask for one at the gate with very few restrictions. That made Southwest a rare gem among American air carriers, particularly when it still bragged about open seating and 2 free checked bags. Now, no more open seating and no more free bags. Unsurprisingly, flyers are not pleased. Tigris Osborne, what a name, of the National Association to Advance Fat Acceptance, laments the airline's fall from grace. What was once a beacon of hope is now just another budget carrier, tightening profit-driven rules. Many plus-size travelers, already navigating flights with anxiety, fear this could price or stress them out of air travel entirely. To be clear, it's not just about the seats. It's a big retreat from their identity as an inclusive, unlike the others, airline. Assigned seating, paid baggage, basic economy tiers. We're seeing a complete rebrand in real time. For loyal flyers, Southwest, that they fell in love with, is disappearing, and quickly. By the way, their stock ticker is LUV, and it was they were based out of Love Field, and that was why they were, and they had a heart in their logo with wings. So I have thoughts about this, and so I looked at a lot of the comments in the coverage of this online, and a lot of it is like, hey, fat asses, it's your own fucking fault if you're too fat to fit in the seats. Lose some fucking weight or buy another seat. I don't want you spilling onto my seat. Well, so that's really lovely and collegial, but like, here's the thing. The seats are too fucking small. If you went back to the way the seats were when I started flying as a little kid, back in the 1970s, this would be a non-issue for 90% of people who are currently having this problem. The seats are shrinking. The pitch space between the rows is shrinking. And yes, Americans are
That's the leg room.
Americans are heavier than they used to be through no fault of their own, because the food is basically poisonous and it's making us that way. This isn't about your morals or about being gluttonous. It's about the seats are getting smaller while the people are getting bigger, and and it's like it's up to the airlines are just greedy and gross, and they need to come up with their needs. We need FAA regulation to make the seats decent size. I'm 6'2". 215 pounds. Okay, so in other words, I'm the weight that Donald Trump says he is.
Really? Is that what he says?
Yeah, he claims to be 215. It's probably closer to 265 or something.
No way, he's no.
He's not 215. So the point is, like, I can, like, Americans got the smallest rope space between of the major carriers between rows. Delta's got the widest, but even if you go, so on American, there is no way, even with the person in front of me not pushing back their seat, that I can even open a laptop in front of me. There's not enough room. Then it's like, even on Delta, I can do it if the person doesn't lean back. If they try to lean back, I will tap on their shoulder and politely offer them $20 not to do that. And I've never had to pay the $20. They usually are like, oh, okay. It's much better than like kicking the seat or yelling at them. It really indicates that you're really serious, that it really is bothering you. And by the way, I would happily pay the $20 to someone who would take it. So yeah, the point is, now, 6'2", 215 is hardly, there's a lot of people who are bigger than I am. Now, it's also a safety issue. I mean, it's like, imagine like with the how hard it is going to be the next time that there's a emergency evacuation, the plane filling up with smoke and maybe fire or maybe water or maybe all three, and you have the aisle is insanely narrow. The center aisle needs to be a lot wider. You can barely.
Oh yeah, you always get bumped with the tray with the cart.
Yep, and you can barely get the luggage through, like when you're getting on and off. Imagine if you are trying to get out of the seats. Like, let's say that like you have a crash, and you're on the window side, and let's say the passenger that's blocking your aisle is incapacitated because of the crash. You should be able to get past.
Good point.
Them. You can't get past.
Point.
You can't get past them. You can't walk past them.
If they're a heavy person, if they're a heavy person and blocking the.
I mean, if they're
on the aisle seat,
if they're 100 pounds, you'll probably be able to get past them. But if they're even 175, which is very thin for most people,
basically anyone bigger than me,
you're not going to be able to get past. So it's a safety issue. The FAA should regulate this accordingly. Not to mention, tight seats cause deep vein thrombosis. It's what happened to Dan Quayle from Frequent Flying. He became a spokesperson. Against deep vein thrombosis from flying. He urges people to, if you're in the window or the middle aisle, the middle seat, don't hesitate to bug the person in the aisle seat to get up so you can get up and walk around several times during your flight. It's a matter of life and death, maybe your own. So the point is, it's absolutely reprehensible the way these airlines are. And like, I might have some sympathy if they weren't incredibly profitable enterprises, but they're not. They are making billions of dollars a year in profits. They're loading it up on baggage fees and everything else. They can easily afford to do this. They just need to basically take a couple of rows out of every plane, make the aisle a little bit wider, and that's it. I bet you, if you talk to pilots and flight attendants, 90% of the conflicts they have are because everyone's packed in so tight.
Oh yeah.
They're like bumping into each other. You know, girls are flicking their hair over the back of their headrests onto the person behind them. People are kicking each other's seats, who aren't even kids. There's people who are like fat shaming, bigger customers. I mean, shame on the fat shamers. It's like they are blaming the wrong person. If someone's spilling out onto your... Also, if they're not willing to do this, there's Ted Rall's plan B. I've obviously thought a lot about this. Ted Rall's plan B would be, You don't have to have every seat and coach be cookie cutter, right? I mean, we do know as as Americans, we know roughly what percentage of the population weighs what. So you could set aside, like, let's say you have 50 rows. You could say, well, we're going to set aside 20 rows, and there's only going to be, instead of 3 seats across, there's going to be 2 seats across in those 20 rows. There are other.
Well, they call that business class.
You don't. Well, that's right. But you don't have to make it one size fits all per class, right?
Yeah. Well, so obviously, I let Ted run away with this because I knew he was going to have more feelings about this. No, don't be sorry. While I agree with everything you just said, especially with how greedy the corporations are, and screw how comfortable the customer is, we're a captive audience, right? Like, you have no choice. So all the airlines, it seems like they banded together to say, fuck you to anyone that needs to fly. Fuck you. We don't care. We're going to cram in as many rows as we can. And I've shared on our private group chat, Ted, there was I think in Spain, a recent, one of these trade shows for the airline industry, and a Spanish company was trying to market their new airline seats that are quasi standing up. So you kind of almost straddle, kind of like where you can, it looks almost like a bike seat, but with a backrest. So that way you could cram in 20% more rows if people were quasi standing up, where you can kind of only rest your butt for a moment and not actually sit.
Yeah, Ryan Air was working on that. I think, and there's another airline, I forget which one it is, that's trying to do that.
Horrible. But for the weight thing, I'm with you. I believe the outrage is misplaced, and obviously, I have big complaints about our food supply and just all, not only the weight gain stuff, but the inflammation and all the unhealthy foods. So all of that is correct. However, on the surface, for someone like me, who I'm about 5'5", I'm about 120 pounds, I'm small, I'm compact, right? Like, I fit into the seat, no problem. I don't spill over. But because of that, Ted, I have been, when I was a younger journalist and having to travel all the time, and especially when you're a journalist, you often, as you know, Ted, you're flying on standby, right? Like, because you got to go, right? You got to go. So whatever's available, you hop on that flight, they call you up and they're like, hey, we got a seat for you. And oftentimes, Ted, and I've seen this, the gate agents are sizing me up. And I cannot tell you how many times I have been placed in the center seat between 2 very heavy set people. And I'm like this. I'm squeezed in between. That's not fair to me either. I'm paying the fare also. I should be afforded my own space in between the armrests.
Are you sure you're not just paranoid that, like, because you're flying standby, the center seat is all that was available?
But why was it that every time I flew standby, I was placed in between 2 very heavy set people?
Well,
you don't think my size had anything to do with that?
I know. I've read about flight attendants. They size up all the passengers. Like,
Absolutely.
For example, back in the old days, before the emergency exit row became a premium seat to pay extra for, I always got seated at the emergency exit row because they sized me up. They were like, he's tall.
You look like an able-bodied man.
He can open that door. And, like,
yeah.
By the way, I have opened that door, so they're right.
They absolutely sized me up because I'm a more petite size, and because I was a traveling journalist. I traveled light. I had carry-on only.
Yeah, and we can fit her between El Blabo.
That's
sure.
right.
Sure.
So all these arguments can be true at once.
No, but
for
no
people
doubt,
like me, that sucks. That's not fair.
I've had it happen to me, at my present size, and when I weighed like 180, it basically is just like having like dudes. It's always dudes, spilling over the armrest into my section.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, it was incredibly uncomfortable for me, but it had to be that much worse for them, and that's what I was focused on. Like, well, it sucks for me, but it sucks for them more because they're treated like this everywhere. I mean, have you? I've got. Let's read a quick ad here.
All right.
Okay, set your clocks, mark your calendars, and buckle up for the best NFL primetime football action. Starting September 4th on Westwood One, you can catch all the bone-crushing hits, last-second heroics, and edge-of-your-seat action that NFL Thursday, Sunday, and Monday nights have to offer. Whether you're tailgating, driving, or chilling at home, don't miss a single snap. Listen on the NFL app, the Westwood One Sports app, at westwoodonesports.com, or just say, Alexa, open Westwood One Sports. If it's the NFL, it's on Westwood One. Okay, so, I mean, I think, but what's called here, I mean, honestly, if Donald Trump wants to make a mark as a bipartisan president, stick the FAA on the airlines. I mean, I don't think the airlines
I'm with you.
donate to his campaign. I don't think he should care about them.
That's true. I don't think they do.
Why not just nail him? Everyone would love him. He could get Democratic votes. I mean, it's like literally just.
I could get with that.
If the fares go up, so be it. I think it's worth it for the fares to go up rather than be packed in like that. It's unsafe. It's uncivilized. Yeah. It's dangerous. It's undignified, and
for women,
it's inhumane.
Parents, I should say parents, not just women, but primarily moms like me, like when I was traveling with my son when he was still in my arms, right? Like too young to have a seat. Sometimes we need to get up. Sometimes we're crammed over by the window. We need to get over to the seat. Unless you want me changing the baby diaper, the poopy diaper right there, you need to make it more accessible for moms to get up and go to the bathroom and change a poopy diaper. And in general, disabilities.
That's a bad example because let's face it, women are going to get up, or men are going to get up and change that diaper no matter what. Nothing's going to stop them. But I got to tell you, while we're at it, there's no place to.
How did Joe Biden get up to go change his poopy diaper?
That's a good question. Well, he's in first class, but the thing is, the bathroom is also too small. For someone like me, when I had to change my baby in the bathroom, that it was impossible. I mean, there's just no room to maneuver. But all right, we should move on here.
And to Sir Bikes a Lot's question, Sir Bikes a Lot's question, I have to say Amtrak fares have gone really way up also, but as far as travel convenience, 100% the train is so much more comfortable.
I'll take a slow train over a fast plane anytime if I can.
100%. I would definitely.
The train is great.
Yeah, but the chances of crashing, although slim for both, you have more chances of an Amtrak derailment than an airplane falling out of the sky.
That's true. Although I think you're far more likely to survive a train derailment than a plane crash.
Well, yeah, that's for sure. Unless you're that one guy on the Indian Air crash that crashed into the medical college.
Right. That's true.
A one seat. All right. On to Cracker Barrel. Speaking of customer engagement. So Cracker Barrel has found itself at the center of a branding controversy that has rattled both customers and investors. The restaurant chain recently unveiled a redesigned logo that eliminates its longtime Uncle Herschel mascot and the iconic wooden barrel imagery, opting instead for a stripped-down, text-only look. And Ted, I don't know if you looked at the new logo design, but again, somebody went to Canva and spent $20 for a membership and made the logo.
Totally. I guarantee you they did not hire a professional graphic artist.
I
met a guy who he designed some of the most iconic logos in American history. For example, the current logo of Chase Manhattan Bank. He was paid $25 million as his standard fee for one logo. But it's a multi-billion-dollar corporation. They can easily.
Yeah, wow.
And it makes sense. I guarantee you, they didn't pay 25 cents for this logo.
This is terrible at Cracker Barrel. So I'll complain about that. I agree with Ted. So they made it this stripped down, words only. The company called it modernization. Less is more, I guess. But then within days of the announcement, Cracker Barrel's stock tanked more than $143 million in market value.
It's like new Coke.
They've dropped at this point. When this was first written,
or it's like
over 10%.
It's the trans Bud Light thing too.
It is. they've dropped 15% as of like right before we went on air. The backlash wasn't confined to Wall Street. Longtime fans and conservative commentators accused the brand of abandoning its heritage in favor of woke marketing.
Yeah, that's
social media
that's what I
channels.
have questions about.
Social media channels lit up with criticism, with many expressing that the new logo felt like an erasure of the restaurant's history rather than a thoughtful refresh. Branding experts were quick to weigh in, warning that companies often underestimate how attached customers are to nostalgic imagery. Cracker Barrel's previous logo featuring an old-fashioned barrel and a bearded character nicknamed Uncle Herschel was seen as central to the chain's identity. Replacing it with a minimalist word left many customers cold, sparking accusations that the company had lost its way in an attempt to appear modern and socially progressive. The company issued a statement acknowledging the outcry, admitting, quote, "It could have done a better job of sharing who we are and who we'll always be." Cracker Barrel emphasized that while the logo has changed, its core values of hospitality, comfort, and home-cooked food remains the same. It also reassured fans that Uncle Herschel has not been retired completely. He's still going to be part of the store in decor, in the menus, just not on the brand's primary emblem. This misstep comes as Cracker Barrel is already navigating
maybe
turbulence.
Uncle Herschel is Aunt Herschel now.
Oh no. Rising costs, shifting consumer habits, increased competition in the casual dining space. Analysts noted that while rebrands are common, they must be carefully managed to avoid alienating the very customers who keep the business afloat. For a company that once distinguished itself with a folksy old-time image and perks like free, well, that's not right. The logo change has become obviously a symbol of broader anxieties about tradition, identity, and influence of culture politics. So, Robbie, this is from your neck of the woods. Explain to us why all you
can I ask the
Southerners.
question? Also, I want to chime in. So I have to admit, okay, so I think that I'm a graphic designer too. I've done a bunch of logos in my day, and I'm open to that.
Yeah, explain this.
But let me just say, what I don't understand is why this became a political question, because there's no racial aspect to it. It's not Aunt Jemima or something like that. It's a guy. It's granted probably a white guy, I'm assuming, but not necessarily. It's a dude.
It looks like an old white man.
It's an old white man leaning against a barrel. There's no political connotations to that image, so it's not like and Cracker Barrel's not like Chick-fil-A, which has like a history of being like, ooh, meow,
Team cat.
of being, what a good looking cat, of being anti-gay or something like that. I mean, Cracker Barrel, it's like, sure, it's got an old timey Southern thing, and maybe old time Southern is conflated with conservative, but I don't think that's necessarily true. I mean, there's lots of Southern liberals. I mean, I don't know. Why is this political, Robbie?
I think I think that the political aspect of it is all AstroTurf. To be completely honest with you, I think that's just red bait for your Daily Wire commentators, just trying to make themselves relevant and trying to stop hemorrhaging subscribers and viewers. So I think that the political aspect of it is, I think that part's just overblown. Now the backlash from the consumer aspect of it is if you go into a Cracker Barrel, the way that they used to be is it was kind of like it had wooden floors, had wooden walls, had a fireplace. So it looked like you're going into like an old school hardware store
or general store, right? And it had all that old time. It had stuff, lots of merch you could buy. It wasn't just a restaurant.
Right. So there's a merch storage area. Go to the front, but then once you go in and go eat and you go sit down, you're sitting like these old wooden tables with benches, and all over the walls, like you have muskets, or you'd have signs from like those speed limit signs from all over the place. You'd have old vintage advertisements for like get your oil change here from New York, from Standard Oil or something. So it was very
Route
old school.
66 American.
I found it kind of cluttery.
Yeah.
Well, that's the aesthetic. Yeah.
Well, that's because you're a Yankee. You got to remember. I mean, it was born in the South. Well, but there's a reason why NASCAR was born in the South.
It's like if you go to a Southern bar, there's always tons and tons of stuff on the wall. I mean, like up north, the equivalent would be something like Ruby Tuesdays or TGIFs. They have a similar clutter where there's musical instruments and stuff on the wall. It's like that.
Yeah. And so, so now, with the rebrand, they look like a Burger King. What you're seeing in right now, Ted, is what the new Cracker Barrel estate is going to be.
Sterile. It's a sterile look.
I have to admit, I don't understand. I don't understand why you would screw up your brand to that extent. Like, why would you want to?
Well, because their base, I would say, is meant to appeal to the demographic that typically in the South votes conservative and they're more Christian, and that was the aesthetic, that was the look, and that was the vibe. So isn't this just a bad marketing ploy by the new CEO? This young, like, she looks like she might be an older millennial woman.
Yeah, I think this is a lot of it. Manila is very generational, right? And by the way, I read with great interest the origin of the Uncle Herschel character. It's basically like the graphic designer sat down with the CEO of Cracker Barrel back in the day, and they were just spitballing ideas. And he's like, "Oh, we want to evoke nostalgia," and the graphic designer like drew like this old guy on a napkin, and like at the bar where they were hanging out or the restaurant, and they were like, "Oh yeah, that's kind of cool." And then he like polished it and made it into what it is now.
Yeah, well, that's the entire point, right? I mean, most people don't realize Cracker Barrels are only built on interstates. Like here in Kalispell, where I am, we don't have one. So we go to Missoula once, maybe twice a year, and I'll take my wife over to Cracker Barrel because they have good food. And so the reason
too.
So I mean, the reason for the change is because it was born in the South. It's obviously not a Southern restaurant like Waffle House is. Like Waffle House, if you're north of the Mason-Dixon line, you ain't going to go to no Waffle House.
Yeah, I've been there once. Well, there's a little bit of bleed on that. Like the Mason-Dixon
in Missouri.
In Ohio, there's north of the Ohio River. There are some Waffle Houses.
Yeah, but Southern Ohio is basically the South. I mean that's the blade. It's called Ohio Tucky for a reason. So,
Robbie, do you agree though that this speaks to an episode we did many months ago about the erasure of Southern culture in modern America?
I mean, to an extent, because Ted kind of hit it on the nail. So if you went to a Cracker Barrel, the theme was nostalgia, old school Americana, where the things are simpler. You had two genders, you had guys and you had girls. You were able to.
Well, I haven't heard if they made their bathroom signs any different. If
who knows?
Still men and women.
It's not Aunt Herschel yet.
Yeah, but I mean that was the point, though, is that you're able to look back at a simpler, easier time, and that was the point. Sure. I mean, the food is good. They have great catfish. Highly recommend it. But I mean, that was the theme. And so now what they're doing is that they are walking away from that entire brand, trying to go to some kind of a sterile Burger King-esque look. And I think that
I don't know why you would want to do that. I mean, why would you go from a distinct brand,
right?
Unless you're desperate and you were, look, I've only been to Cracker Barrel once, but the one time I went in there, it was packed. I can't. Are they in trouble?
No, they are now.
In trouble, though. Even before this. No, even before this.
Fix it, right?
No, even before this, consumer consumer interest in this type of like cozy homey food has shifted away to more health conscious buyers, and they're just not. They're not going to eat there.
At a time when food prices are at a record high, you would think that with a lot of families struggling, big portions would be very popular.
Well, you got to remember also, what's the demographic here? There's a reason why Cracker Barrels are on the interstate. They cater to people who are driving.
Yep.
So no, that's not a grocery store. It's a fast food joint. Let's be honest. It's a diner.
Yeah.
It's like the place we went to in Columbia Falls, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
So what this is I think if you think conservative, what you think of. You think of regressive. You think of you think of rigid social ideologies. You think of religion. You think of you think of me. Yeah, if you think conservative, no, right is right, wrong is wrong. There's no middle ground.
No gray area.
Yeah, and so I think that's where
Do you
they're
think
trying to get away
do you
from.
think the word cracker kind of like, gets into it? Because you know what I mean? I mean, I'm not even kidding.
Well, the joke is that they got rid of the cracker and the barrel because they did. So it's like Land O'Lakes.
Uncle Herschel's the cracker.
When Lakes with the Native American lady on it.
So what do you do? I mean, the most American thing ever. You keep the land and ditch the Indian.
Or
so it's the same thing.
The Redskins, same thing.
The Redskins, yeah.
So I mean, that's what this is.
To me.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that's what this is. As far as it being a political issue, I don't see that. Does culture play into it? Sure, I think it does. Because if you want to be all inclusive, you don't want to reflect a region where church attendance is typically very high. People believe in the Bible. They think there's two genders, and so if that is an anathema to you, if you want to have a culturally relevant society where you can be whatever you want, you can be a cat today, a man tomorrow, a woman the next day, then you have this culture that says, no, actually, you are what God made you. We have rules, there are social norms. Then you got to make a choice. Are you going to continue to embrace that brand, or are you going to change it? And I think that this new Wake Skank CEO has done that. And I think she's going to have to pay a price. And it's
it's not too late to just sort of undo the change. Look, I've been on the road. Obviously.
Oh, they're doubling down. They're doubling down.
I've seen a bunch of signs for Cracker Barrels. The old signs are still up. Just leave them. You don't have to. It's
you should stop at one, Ted.
I mean, I have to admit, the one time I did it, I had an omelet, one of my favorite standby foods, and I didn't like their omelet, and so it was too they had too much stuff in it, too many ingredients, and it was too heavy. And
I had country fried steak and egg.
That sounds like it could be good.
Country fried steak with that country gravy, with the white gravy with the pepper in it, and
you know how it is though in consumerism. If you try something one time and you have a bad experience, you're unlikely to go back.
If on the way home, if you get a chance to stop by a Cracker Barrel, get their catfish with fried okra.
I do like catfish, and
it's good eating.
New York City used to have a great Cajun place, but it's gone now.
No, but as far as Cracker Barrel, I mean, they released a statement yesterday doubling down on the change. They said, "No, we hear you." We could have probably.
This is New Coke. They did the same thing. They said, "Oh, we're going to stick with it."
They doubled down.
They had to.
They doubled down. They did double down, and so it's going to be interesting to see if the consumers, if they punish them, and then the share price is punished. It's going to be interesting to see It'll be interesting to see what the board does with the CEO.
Yeah, this is for sure Bud Light, and it's young woman CEO,
Lagunitas
millennial.
Could have had the trans spokesperson, but not Bud Light.
Back when I was a kid, you go to the Cracker Barrel. You go to the Cracker Barrel, and you could get old Confederate forge caps and Confederate flags. That's gone with the wind.
I remember that.
It's gone.
All right, we got to go to the last story.
Let me just say this real quick. But that's just the creep that a lot of people like myself are concerned about. Once you start whittling away something, then where does it ever stop? The answer is it doesn't until you turn the Cracker Barrel and you get rid of the barrel and the cracker.
All right.
Well, ain't that the truth?
Okay.
All right. Last story, Ted.
Most important story of the day. Remember when co-eds made some extra cash stacking books at the library or working a shift at a restaurant? Now, with tuition skyrocketing and talk of entrepreneurship and fast and easy millions in the air, students, including those attending highly selective schools, are turning to a new line of work to pay the college bills. Shayna Lauren, 21-year-old Boston University advertising student, is living a double life. College senior by day, multi-million-dollar content creator by night. In late April, she skipped Pilates after a marathon party, shuffled to class in sweatpants, and casually revealed in a public speaking presentation that she has earned over $1.1 million on OnlyFans. Her talk, titled Influencing, the Perfect Way to Never Use Your College Degree, laid out how she built a following of of over 1 million fans across TikTok and Instagram, and how topless content became less about rebellion than about mastering branding, marketing, and the economics of digital attention. Her journey started in high school when she realized that her knack for entrepreneurship, she once sold handmade soaps, could be supercharged online. By her second month on OnlyFans, she made 50 grand. That changed everything. Although her parents had saved for tuition, she told them to keep it. Her subscription revenue could easily cover BU's $91,000 a year cost. Now she compresses her classes into 2 days a week, leaving the rest open for content creation, meetings, and managing her own media company. She's hardly alone. The U.S. faces nearly $2 trillion in student debt, and tuition at the top schools keeps climbing. Some students are turning to OnlyFans as a modern solution, leveraging the internet's democratization of adult entertainment. The rise of OnlyFans has shaped how some college students are funding their education, turning what was once a side hustle into a significant industry, with tuition at private universities now averaging 40 grand.
That's cheap.
Elite schools, 90 to 100 per grand per year. Students are now under increasing pressure to find alternative sources. OnlyFans allows creators to sell subscription-based content, technically open to any category, but dominated by adult material. As of late 2023, it hosted 4.1 million creators and over 305 million registered users, processing $6.6 billion in payments in a single year. The platform takes 20% with speculative media coverage, often highlights success stories. Some celebs have reportedly earned millions in a single month. The reality is very uneven. The median creator just makes $180 a month, and they can't get a seat on the airline. They have to pay for two. And with the top 1% capturing a third of all earnings. For students who do succeed, the draw is financial independence. Instead of working a low-wage campus job, they cover not only their tuition, but their living expenses, books, and even future investments. Others say it's part of a college student brand, tapping into a long-standing market trope popularized since Playboy. I don't know what they're talking about there. This persona, now repackaged through social media, remains a profitable niche. Still, the phenomenon raises questions about stigma, long-term consequences, blurred definitions of sex work. Some say it's like modeling, others say they make porn. Critics argue that packaging body commodification as empowerment masks the exploitative dynamic, while supporters say it offers agency in an economy stacked against young adults. What we do know is that OnlyFans is now woven into the fabric of modern life on campus, especially among Gen Zers who already monetize personal content through TikTok and Instagram. For a small minority of students, the platform is not just a survival strategy, but an entrepreneurial path. Okay, so I have thoughts about this. So first of all, I went to Columbia. It was the second most expensive school in the United States after Bennington when I went. And which at the time, to put this into perspective, when I started, the whole thing was 13 grand a year. And then it was 16 grand a year my last year. So things have changed a lot. I knew lots of people who had side hustles, some of them involving sex work. I knew a woman who I was good friends with a girl who was a call girl. And she and I used to sort of help each other out in terms of looking out for each other. I would drive her to appointments and stuff because I was a cabbie and I had a car. And she brought her Johns to the dorm. I knew another girl. Oh, wow. She was a dancer at a strip club, and she was making money that way. I mean, the money is very addictive at that point. And I've known actually quite a few people who do it. It should also be pointed out, it's not just girls doing this. Guys do it too. Guys do it. Sure. They do straight porn and they do gay porn. The gay porn guys make more money than the straight porn people. I think it's really, I think the tragic part for me is the fact that you feel like you have to do this or that it's a good move.
I was going to say the cost of tuition.
That's right. Exactly that's the theme in today's show, right?
And you literally just took your kid back to school, today. Literally,
colleges are greedy corporations. They are.
Yes, and another related but unrelated link that I sent you guys over the weekend was how college degrees are basically pointless, and the younger of the Gen Zs are finding it impossible to find a job because their degrees there's more unemployment in what we formerly used to consider white collar jobs, they can't land jobs. The kids that have degrees in, name any kind of white collar type, knowledge career, they're in debt $200,000 when they come out, and they cannot find work. They're more than double the national unemployment rate for that particular group of kids, new college grads with, various white collar degrees, and they can't find jobs. So what I have seen, Ted, especially in Southern California, when I went to college, I knew a girl who was studying to be a nurse. And obviously I was a comms person, but she was studying to be a nurse. And then she revealed to me that she was actually side hustling as a stripper. And this is very taboo because I can't remember if she was Indian or Pakistani. Beautiful woman. I don't want to reveal her name because now she has grown up. She never became a nurse. She became a very major porn star. She goes by a different stage name. People don't even realize her ethnicity, but I forget if she's Indian or Pakistani, but anyway, she grew up, not only was she stripping to pay for school, that was the intent, but before you knew it, she wound up in porn and making a ton of money. And in fact, she was telling me, because I had to leave the car business, right, because it was taking up too much time. I couldn't do it to go to college. So she said, "Why don't you come cocktail waitress at my strip joint?"
That's a good idea.
Why don't you come?
You make a lot of money
check it out
that way.
for a night. That's what she said. She's like, "Manila, come. I can get you in. Come try it out for a night. See if you
don't
can
have to do anything untoward.
You don't have to do anything. You're just serving drinks. You're just a cocktail waitress. Bring the drinks and they'll tip you, and keep an eye out." Keep an eye out for us. If someone's getting unruly, you get security. That's all you have to do. And I thought, okay, so I'll try it for a night or two. But so I saw this industry firsthand, and I knew it wasn't for me. Even being just a waitress.
How'd it go?
Oh, it was great. I made like $200 like in a 4-hour shift because it was just a seedy vibe. And some of the girls I met, I mean, I probably did it 2 or 3 times. And I got to talk to some of the girls. Some of them were single moms. Some of them were students. Some of them were whatever. And it was just very sad and depressing in their dressing room in the back. And I just remember feeling bad. I felt bad, and I didn't like it. I felt more bad cocktail waitressing at a strip joint than I did hustling cars, used cars at that. So I thought, okay, this isn't for me. But anyway, what happened to that girl, and I feel like this is often the slippery slope, but in the digital sense, is that for young women who are trying to make ends meet, who don't, whose parents, they're not silver spoon kids, it is so easy to go slide down that slippery slope and go from just sexy tease video, strip tease type videos to landing in hard porn or prostitution. And I watched it happen to a girl I knew.
Well, because I mean, there's 2 things that happen. First of all, it's just tempting. I know someone who did that, and she was, basically she went to work like you and say, well, sort of like, well, would you like to earn a little more money? Would you like to, if you go into this room with this guy, you'll get even more money. It's like, oh, he's so, and then you're like, oh, he's good looking, I would do that. And then you're like, oh, you want to go spend the night with this guy, then you'll get even more money, and the money is so appealing. And then the problem is, of course, that it's sort of like working in print media. The money's getting less because you're getting older and you're less marketable, and then you have to work that much more just to earn the same amount.
And not only a short shelf life going that route, Ted, because I'm not saying it inevitably does, but more often than not,
it's inevitable. Let's face it.
Pretty much.
You're gonna at some point it's gonna go. Yeah.
But out of the 100 girls that does this, let's say the one girl that does finish nursing school or medical school or whatever, how long before you're in your respectable line of work that you the whole reason you did the OnlyFans is to pay for medical school, and now you're this doctor, you're 40 years old, you're a wife, and then this old background creeps out, and then people are like, hey, you were an online stripper on OnlyFans.
Yeah,
and
I know I recognize you from Well,
And
I mean,
that
I
comes
think,
back to bite
and
you in the ass. And your
Clay
career,
Shirky,
it's
Clay
career
Shirky,
ending.
who was a professor, I guess he probably still is at NYU. He was a futurist, and he said, "Oh, in the future, everyone's going to have a nude photo online," and what he meant by that is that when that happens, it won't matter anymore. But we're not at that point, and I don't see when we're going to get to that point anytime soon. If we were, I mean, it shouldn't matter. I mean, I have to admit, it would not affect me in the least to find out that someone I was working with or working for or was about to hire or date or anything like that was a sex worker. It would not
Yeah.
in any way.
This is a variation of sex work.
I would think it was interesting and I would have questions, but I definitely wouldn't hold it against them.
I'm not shaming the girls for doing this. Like I'm not
honestly,
bothered by it.
I'm not even kidding. If I could have made a living doing sex work, I would have. I think it would have been so. Look, it's money and sex, two things that I like. Why not do them both at the same time? It's like great. I mean, and it's like I can compartmentalize the difference between, romantic sex and and just entertainment sex, sports sex. So I mean, but
Vintage Lefty in the Rumble Room says that as a millennial, I'm mortified that this is becoming a norm. Also, people rarely discuss the dark side of this, which there's a lot.
Well, that's true, and there's a lot of drugs.
Very true. There's drugs. Yeah, I've seen some just in the handful of times that I did this, those few times that I did this at one strip club in SoCal, what I saw was enough for me to go, I can't even waitress here. I can't be in this environment.
No,
like
it's bleak.
Going to drag me down.
I mean, this would be like almost a Robbie question. There's a lot of undocumented migrants who do this too.
Really?
I remember when I went to a strip club one time, and I was talking to some of the girls. It's like, oh, when you have an accent, where are you from? Oh, you wouldn't know. I'm like, try me. I know where everybody's from. It's like, oh, I'm from Uzbekistan. It's like, oh, you're not documented, right? So, so that's also ripe for exploitation.
Cash business. Yeah, well,
that's business. And
I guess that's, you know what? There's the OnlyFans thing. That is like one of the main hubs for income for Ukrainian women prior to the war, because that their socioeconomic status was quite bleak, right? Or you can rent your room.
They're very pretty, so yeah, it makes sense.
So they did all of this, but it's not like there's a future involved, and I'm not shaming the women that do this.
Basically, I think this is the kind of thing where, look, it's really dangerous.
I wouldn't advise it.
If you go, I wouldn't advise it either, because what I'm about to say is like you said, Manila, it's an exception. If you can get in and you're like very self-disciplined, you're like, I'm going to do this for 2 years, never to touch it again, never to look back, never care. 1 out of 100 people can do that. You're right. Most people can't do that. I knew a guy. He was like that. He wasn't doing sex stuff, but he was the biggest cocaine dealer on the Columbia University campus, and that was a lot of cocaine in the early '80s. Trust me. So I mean, at one point he knew that I was really good with money, and we talked about, and I was like, we worked it all out, and I'm like, so you're netting about $1.5 million a year. So where's it all going? And he's like, right up here, up my nose, and I'm like, okay, so
you're not supposed to do your own stuff.
So he did, and so long story short, with my advice, I was like, we made a plan for him, and he stuck to it. He kept doing it for 2 more years, quit, never looked back, first of all, he stopped using, he stopped selling, he got out of the business, he saved the money, he became an insurance guy. He started his own. He started his own insurance little outlet from Allstate or whatever, State Farm.
Oh wow! And now he became a broker, an insurance broker,
and that's what he does. He has his own little brokerage, and he used the startup capital
straight and narrow
from cocaine, right? And so the point is that there's that kind of thing. He was very self-disciplined in the end, And I remember walking around with him after he quit.
All the dealers I know have a different story.
All the guys were like, yo, his nickname was Fish, come on, you got some stuff, come work with us. And he just ignore them. And I was like, I told him, you're going to have to leave the city. You'll have to leave the city to get away. And he did. So,
and and the thing is, the worst part about this with OnlyFans is that you can't be the story that Ted just talked about and leave the city, leave it behind, because this is on the internet. It's there forever.
Now,
proliferated forever.
on the other hand, like let's say a company would get upset about the fact that you did this and wouldn't hire you. You don't want to work for them anyway. If you go on a date and if you marry a dude and he would be upset to find out that you did this, and
Well,
then
let me tell you.
he doesn't deserve to have sex or a wife either. So
last thing I'll say is on my old show, on the old show in question, when because OnlyFans launched in 2016, so this would have been 2019, so it was still fairly new. I remember I interviewed a working nurse, and who was raking in like 30 grand a month or something, maybe more. And she said she was ready to leave nursing entirely because she was raking in so much dough on her OnlyFans. And OnlyFans was still new, 2 or 3 years old at the time. And she said, because the hospital she worked at found out that she did this, they fired her, and she figured I'm just gonna leave the industry because it's no longer worth it. Like, they're not paying nurses what we're due, and blah blah blah, and our hours suck, and I want
she can't do
my life
OnlyFans for the rest of her life.
I know. So, but now that it's become normalized, I'm curious what happened to that nurse, and if she can go back to the industry, if she has any interest in going back to nursing.
Now that it is
it's normal.
Now that it is normalized, I mean, it would be strange if in like 30 years, you're a guy and you're looking for a wife or whatever. That'd be very strange that like you would find no one who had ever done this. It won't be that unusual. It won't be weird.
I don't think that's a great way for our society to move, but I'm personally not bothered by it, but because I know that it's a slippery slope from what I witnessed at the club, and what happened in particular to this young woman I knew, very promising, very smart. I think this is a slippery slope into that too. So I don't know.
I hear you. I mean, it's definitely sorted. But the best scenario, I think, if you're going to do this, I met a couple. They were at the time.
Oh, no, you can't do a news story. We got to go.
I was just going to say they were in their 40s, and they were married, and they made porn themselves together, and with other people. But the point is, they did it together. It was their family. Oh. They were a suburban family with kids, and they lived in the burbs, and white picket fence, spicy. The whole 9 yards. Yeah, spicy. So and the money was good, and also they specialized in amateur porn, so getting older didn't like make them age out of it.
Well, I say God bless, to each their own. If it pays the bills, and I'm not bothered by what people do for a living. I'm not. Yeah, as long as no one's being harmed, I don't really care what people do. So
who gets harmed actually are the people who get addicted to OnlyFans, the customers. And then start sending their families the money for the bills into some skank that they see on OnlyFans.
That's an interesting angle we should explore. All right, that's going to do it for us for this. What is it? Today's Tuesday. Yep. I can get used to this 4-day show week, Ted.
Oh,
next week is the same thing. Next week is Labor Day, so we're not going to have a Monday show. So no Labor Day show. But that does it for us for Tuesday. We'll be back mañana. Ted will be back with Clovis.
That's
and
right.
Not at the BK.
This could become a 2-cat show.
Whoa, yeah, Robbie got a cat.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys put 2 cats up, what would that do for our numbers?
That's a good question. Double at least. There must be a quadratic equation or something.
There must be for cat videos.
A quadratic equation. Anyway.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you back here tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern time. Thanks for being here. Adios, amigos. Bye. Bye, Ted.
Bye.
Safe travels.
Bye.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.